Good please. So this is a panel session with three experts. So Yala, and Sway and Brad. And I just wanted to start by asking them to introduce themselves. I'll introduce myself first. So my name is David Whale. I'm Whaley Geek on Twitter, just in case you hadn't noticed. And my day job is I'm a software engineer. And my other day job is I'm a STEM ambassador, where I work in schools and after school hours at class. Okay, so if you could just briefly introduce, say, your name and what you do.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Gowan, and that's the easy bit, so we'll skip the surname for now. I used to be a design technology teacher with a penchant for electronics, and when the Raspberry Pi came along, it sort of changed my life and took over, as to say. And yeah, I've been quite involved in various Raspberry Jams all over, and although I'm not a programming specialist, the hardware hacking side is my kind of forte.
I'm Sway. I'm a Year 5 teacher at the moment, but I've done sort of across primary, and I do computing for Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2, and at UIFS actually. Recently attended Picademy, which the foundation ran to give us some time to play with Pies and to sort of build a network of teachers who can take this out into schools across primary and secondary. I didn't really start properly on the Raspberry Pi journey until about a year ago, so in terms of technical questions, please direct them this way. I'm curriculum. But yeah, so I've been playing with stuff. I've had Pies in my classroom since September-ish. Without monitors to begin with, but you can still do lessons without monitors and Pies. And yeah, so that's sort of where we've got to. We've been playing with them, trying different things out.
Okay, I'm Graham Hastings. I teach a school here in Cambridge, St John's College School. I've been working with CAS now for 8 years, lobbying really. The main reason I got into CAS was I've been teaching ICT for how long, probably 10 or more years. Before that I taught computing, so starting way back in the late 1980s I was teaching computing. So I'd seen computing come and then go, replaced by office applications. And after teaching office applications for long enough, I realised, along with a number of people, led by Simon Pitt Jones and Simon Humphreys and a couple of others, that we had to do something about this. So we lobbied government, lobbied the Department for Education. We got a few big players involved from the States. They were also at the same time wondering what on earth we were doing, having chucked out this fantastic legacy we had of producing the best software developers in the world. That whole generation had gone. And we really kind of chucked the baby out with the bathwater with our drive to ICT and office applications. Anyway, we found an interesting ally in Michael Gove and the current Tory government. And they kind of threw the back at us and said, well, okay, well, if you don't like the current curriculum, then you can change it. And I don't know if it's been done before, but basically the Department for Education put together a working group to look at the ICT programme of study, see how it could be improved. And after the first meeting, we decided to tear it up a minute and start again. And out of several meetings came the new programme to study. So that's kind of what I've been working on over the last couple of years. I'm not really an expert at all, really. I've just been in schools teaching computing, ICT and science. But I have obviously taken interest in the Raspberry Pi, and I was very, very fortunate to be invited to the Picademy, the first one. It was a fantastic, probably the best 2 days of CPD I've ever done, actually, in all my years in teaching. It was very, very well run. And if any of you get the opportunity to do it, you must take it up. It was incredibly enjoyable. It was great fun, but also I learned an awful lot. And they do want people like you to join up and then spread the word. It's a kind of evangelistic model of CPD. Yeah, so that's it. Sorry.
That's fine. It's great actually, because you lead on to my next cue card, Chairman. I just wanted to, because obviously you two were at Picademy and us two weren't, and I guess a lot of people in the audience weren't as well. Could you just explain between you a little bit about the format and content of Picademy, what was involved?
Yeah, so there was people applied, and eventually people were selected and invited to come along. There were 20 people in total with 4 group leaders. We were in small groups. We went through a range of sort of activities on the first day, having a go at various stuff. So we had a go at looking at the GPIO stuff, Sonic Pi, Minecraft using PyCam, lots of different activities to really get hands-on. And what was really interesting is to go to Picademy, you didn't have to have done anything on a Pi before. There was no prerequisite for, oh, I can do this and I've been doing it in the classroom. It was, I want to learn and I'm happy to come along for 2 days on my Easter holiday. And so you actually got to be in a very unique classroom environment where everyone was just like, great, what can I do? What can I do? What happens when I plug this in? I'm going to do it. And you could see just what you see with children. Within the adults in the room, there was a real buzz and a real atmosphere. Everyone was building on each other's ideas. Or you'd go, look, I've done it, it's not working, what's happened? And someone else would sort of lean over your shoulder and go, let's have a look at this sort of thing.
It was the group format, wasn't it?
Yes.
You were in a group, so you would kind of help each other and everybody in the group. And it got quite competitive towards the second day when you were working on projects, and some groups you could see they wanted to produce the best video or the best something or other. So that group format was really good because you didn't know anybody at the beginning, and then you had some really good friends by the end of it.
And you're also quite secure. You didn't feel like you were being put on the spot of, oh, I've never done something, or I don't know how to use Scratch. It was just, right, someone here must know something. Let's work together, brains together, and we'll get through it. So it was really good. And then, as you say, the second day was about, right, now we've got this, where do we want to take it? Is there something you particularly want to spend more time on, something you're going to go into class? Do you want to make a resource? Do you just want to practice a skill whilst you've got experts on hand? And the foundation were just great at supporting us, but also being receptive to our ideas. We're saying, we want this, and they're going, okay, right, let's see if we can make that happen. So it's a very unique experience that they were so open to let us come into sort of their environment and also take on board what we were saying. It was very nice to feel we'd be listened to.
It was very good the second day, having people like Sam and Craig there, the people who delivered the workshops on the first day, were there on the second day. So if you're having a problem with something, you could call them over and they could then give you a little bit more kind of hands-on, one-to-one support with that.
Fantastic. So can you start with the audience? Are there any specific questions you might have at the moment about Picademy? Anything more you'd like to know before we go on to the next question?
How do I apply?
Yes, how do you apply? Well, actually, I've got a little crib sheet here because I knew that question was going to be asked. And in true style, I looked at the website last night. So if you go to the Picademy page on raspberry.org, actually just type in Picademy into Google, it finds it. It's already #1 on the list. You have to register by May the 30th. And registration is, I don't know if it's the same as when you did it, basically just a tiny little form you fill in which says what school you work in, what your interests are, and I think there's a little, do you have to give a link to a little video or something?
No, not.
I think they are doing that this time around.
Oh,
yeah. And basically, so register by May the 30th. It's free from what it says on the website.
Yeah.
There's 2 new sessions coming up, so 16th and 17th of June. And 14th and 15th of July. And there will be others beyond that, but these are the next 2 they've got planned. And it's actually at Pi Towers, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not. I don't think it's not just a first come first served. What they're looking for is people who are. There is a quid pro quo. They're looking for people who will, do training themselves, but also they want a good geographic spread. So they don't just want 200 Picademy people in Cambridge and nobody in Northumberland or down in Cornwall. So I think when Carrie-Anne gets the applicants, she does look for where the spread is, where the need is. So if you're not accepted, I don't know whether that's explained to you, but that is part of the kind of selection process.
Can you apply again if you're not selected for the first one?
Yes, so absolutely, because the geographical need might change over time. So
yeah, actually, I saw noted Picademy website. It's their standard blog format, so people can leave comments. And last night I noticed there was a comment by someone saying, I applied for the first one and didn't get in. Do I need to reapply? What's the process? And Liz has dropped in and said basically what they need to do to give a reply.
Yeah, that was me.
Yes?
That was me.
That was you? Good. Did she answer your question?
Yes.
She did. Okay, great. Excellent.
I mean, I think the reason Picademy was set up is because a number of people have been asking the foundation what they were doing to complete on their mission statement, which was to promote the teaching or the learning of programming with young people. And they were aware that 75% of the initial kind of 500,000 sales have gone to geeks and adults, and very few have actually gone into hands of children in schools. And so a lot of people have been asking this question, and people in education have been asking this question, and I think they didn't realise that if the Raspberry Pi was going to sort of gain traction in schools and actually deliver on the mission statement, they had to support it. And the Picademy is really their kind of first real endeavour to support education and the use of the Raspberry Pi. And they've set up a forum to go with it, haven't they? Which, as more and more people go through the Picademy training, I think there'll be more and more people posting stuff on there, and that'll be a really useful resource for teachers and a useful discussion forum as well. So have a look at the Picademy forum on the Raspberry Pi website.
Yeah, even if you don't get into Picademy or you don't want to go for whatever reason, there is a network of people there that have been through it or just are genuinely interested, that you could just say, this is sort of what I think is the problem, has anyone else experienced this? Or, there was one post on there that was, I'm trying to do a project based on Brazil, can you think of any ideas for how I can tie this and that and this in? And people will just sharing ideas, so it doesn't have to be, strictly speaking, a technical problem.
Sorry, people on the live stream would like to see the website. I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
And you get a badge at the end of it. I've got my badge here.
This
You've got your badge there. They're kind of looking at the
Certified educator.
It's kind of a bit like the Google teaching model, where they do, and it's not as kind of full on and heavy as that, but the idea is that we are now the new Raspberry Pi evangelists, and we've got a place to prove it.
Yeah, there's a little video there which is quite fun to watch, because you see Graham in his way in there and he's quite nervous.
Are you going to share it?
I'm just being shared on Twitter.
So I've got a quick question just to open up, and then what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask the audience a few questions. So can you think of something that is easy to teach using Raspberry Pi?
Computing concept-wise, or just cross-curricular and anything?
Whatever you like. Computing if you want to, because it's generally a computing thing, but...
Well, I think the easiest to start with as the Raspberry and the image is packaged now is Scratch. That's such a great introduction to programming by using drag and drop blocks, and that for me is the ultimate sort of taste for certainly the Key Stage 2, Key Stage 3, and that's how I feel. That's where I feel we've got to